All right, so we're doing this. We're doing this. Welcome,
Hello.
to Hot Take Tuesday Live on a Wednesday.
Yes, on a Wednesday.
So I am your host, Lisa, and my lovely guest today, whose name I actually don't know, up in Lonely Horror Club.
You can just call me Lonely. Yeah, no, I'm serious. That's what the internet knows me as. So,
Lonely Horror Club. It's here, and if you want to take a couple minutes, tell everyone what you're about, what you do, and things like that.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for having me. Now I know your name. You have the same name as my mom, so that's a good sign. We're on a good foot.
Yeah.
So yeah, my name is Lonely. I'm the ghost with the blog. I review at Lonely Horror Club, and I'm also a co-host on Nobody's Horror Podcast. So I review horror films, and my focus is primarily on culture and gender and horror. I don't review much else other than horror. So when it comes to outside the film scope, I'm not as well versed as everybody else, but horror I've got down. I've been reviewing for about 2-ish years now. So that's me. Our podcast is a little over a year old, and that's that. I find myself in the weird corners of the internet, and that's where I'm at.
Yes. You know what? Well, horror is actually my first love as a kid. It was my favorite genre. And now, like, I kind of expanded, but whenever I see a trailer for a horror movie, I at least like turn my head like, excuse me? What's up?
Yeah, definitely.
Guys. And I'm your host, Lisa. I'm a writer, director, producer. I've a podcast for movie lovers, real talk, all the fun things. So you can catch me here and on my other Instagram, Real Movie Lovers, REEL. Now, for the fun stuff, we are diving into Tarot, the 2024 supernatural thriller. So feel free to drop any comments or questions in the chat, and we will, get to them as we talk. Now, Lonely, did you get a chance to check out my hot take?
Yes. So I did, and definitely, especially knowing that, for somebody who's a little bit maybe isn't as immersed in horror as some of us other crazies, I love when people notice the tropes. Like, the tropes are so obvious. Why are we here to begin with? I want to know what Airbnb these people are at. Like, what did they look up? Like, haunted, familial, mansion, abandoned. So, yeah, I saw your hot take. And you know what? You're not alone. A lot of people, I think, notoriously did not like this film very much. So I'm sure we'll get into some of the issues with it.
Yes. So, absolutely. Now, there are definitely issues with the film. I did have fun with it. So, can you hear me on echo? I'm hearing an echo.
I can hear you good. So.
Okay. All right. We're good. Perfect. Okay, perfect. All right. Now, so how did you, first, okay, so my hot takes, most of the time I try to make them funny. Sometimes they're not even hot takes. They're just like things. But how did you feel about the movie?
So I would say, it's objectively not a good film. It's also objectively not a good horror film. I didn't go into it with very high expectations. It's got a 17 on Rotten Tomatoes, so I had no intention of really seeing it, but I'm a person that actually reads tarot in real life, so this movie had been recommended to me multiple times. Not as like a recommendation that I would like it, but definitely a recommendation, that I should see it and figure out what was going on with it. So I did not care for the film. I do think it's full of tropes. It's definitely what I call a teeny bopper horror. It's really focused on this group of friends here. And not a lot happens. And underneath the surface of that, most of the lore of tarot in the film, like tarot as a reading practice, is wrong. So that kind of adds to it, which makes it more problematic. So overall, not a fan. It's definitely going to be on my worst top 5 of the year for horror. So
Okay.
Yeah, it's up there. But yeah, so how bad do you think this movie is in context to anything else you've seen this year?
So here's the problem. I feel like I've seen a lot of good horror this year. I checked out Long Legs. I checked out Alien Romulus. Checked out Smile 2. I, this is, they're not even on the same level right now, like as Tarot. So if anything, I was actually trying to compare it to previous like teeny bop or horror movies, which is kind of like a little bit of what I did with uh, the question, the poll that I did. But it, it was a movie that happened, and things were in it.
Yeah.
Um,
The right, I think the concept was really there. Like the
yeah,
concept was really interesting.
yeah,
Some of the imagery was really, really inventive. And I would say
yeah,
the only like anything redeeming about the film, the imagery of the iconography of the tarot monsters was quite good for a
yeah,
movie of this budget. But
yeah.
the writing was not there. The story wasn't there. And I always feel terribly for the actors in these films because it makes you think like, are they struggling? Or is it the script? Are we
Right,
all
right,
struggling? And
right,
one of the leads in this is Ivantika, and she just killed it in Mean Girls. So what's going on here?
right.
What happened? Yeah, it's just, and I think people were able to see through this plot like 10 minutes in. It like, for lack of a better word, it showed all its cards in the
Yeah.
first 10 minutes of the film, and there wasn't a lot to watch after that happened.
No, okay, okay. So let me tell you what's funny about the first 10 minutes of the film. Oh, and just the movie night says truer words have never been spoken. Yes, yes. Um, so the first 10 minutes of the movie, I was like, I know this is a horror movie, but I feel like I'm watching a coming of age story. What is the music, the atmosphere, the tone? I was like, okay. I was like, you know what? You guys would have been better off just having it as a coming of age story with these characters going off in separate lives, because that had way more like potential than what you guys did over here.
Yeah,
Um,
or going the horror comedy route, because if they were going to be
yes,
so like on the nose with it,
yes,
they could have went full horror comedy, but they
yes.
didn't. And I think the one of the weirdest like shoehorns in the story is like the pseudo love story we have going on. We're 5 minutes into the film and these two are already fighting and we don't care. Like we haven't been introduced to
No,
them.
no.
They have horrible personalities, so it's like, well, why are we supposed to care and be invested in this relationship? And then usually there's some kind of background character who has some redeeming qualities, but there really isn't. These personalities are so strange. Then you start to wonder, like, how is this group of people friends? Like, how did they meet?
So it's funny that you say that, right? Because I'm like, okay, I know that when they got into the different horoscopes and things like that, and the different characteristics assigned to each sign. Like I get what you were trying to do, but also like you said, how are these people connected? What's like bonding them together? And I feel like the background character that we probably would have been rooting for probably got killed early on. Probably what happened because um, I I wasn't that invested. Like I wasn't like, oh no, don't die,
Yeah,
no.
exactly. And then people start dying really fast. But the
Yes.
one point that I'll add here, so you mentioned about the horoscopes, and the whole kind of crux of one of this is that she's doing these tarot readings and she's connecting them to her horoscopes. And what a general viewer might not kind of know is that astrology and tarot are two different things.
Yeah.
So knowing what your horoscope is, knowing what your sun sign is not, it doesn't tell you the same thing as what doing a tarot reading is. And she combines them in a way that doesn't make a lot of sense. And then she goes on to say, well, this is the strongest form of fortune telling is combining astrology and tarot. And that's not really true. So it's,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
So I don't know a lot about tarot. So when she said that, I was like, oh, that's that's a thing. Like I
yes,
definitely knew that they were separate
yeah,
things.
yeah,
But when she said combined, I'm like, oh, huh, that's a thing. And apparently, thank you, Lonely, it's not. They lied.
yeah, they did lie. And like, there's some vague connections here. Like there are some cards within a standard deck. So for demonstration purposes, I have my deck here, so no one thinks I'm a fraud.
Oh,
Yeah. So I talk about reading tarot on the internet, but I've never had a chance. So I am a real tarot reader.
wow.
It's true. But so certain cards in the deck do have like their own astrological, signs that go with them, but that's not the bulk of a reading. To use someone's horoscope to tell like the answer to the question or somebody's future, quote unquote, it has a lot to do with birth charts, which is a totally different thing. So if you have somebody read your birth chart, that's different than getting a tarot reading. And obviously the bulk of the film, it is a supernatural thriller,
Right.
so things are gonna suspend belief, but I'm also here to tell everybody that what you read in a tarot reading does not 100% come true. That's kind of not the point. If we could tell the future, we wouldn't be in a lot of situations we're in. So, but the plot of this film is like cruxed on the fact that what she reads in that first 15 minutes is 100% going to come true, and that's not true outside of the movie world. I always get worried when people see things in movies because I'm worried they're going to think that that's like reality. Nuance and context don't always exist in our world anymore.
Don't get me started on that, Lonely. Please. We'll be here all night. So what I found funny is when, first of all, when they said, "Oh, who's gonna be for together forever?" Oh, it's gonna be what's his name? Grant and what's her name? The chick, Haley. Grant and Haley. And I was like, immediately their faces, but I'm like, they're also on opposite sides of the fire. They're not even sitting together. Read the room, guys. Read the room. And then when they went to other side, they were separated there, and it's going back and forth between like he's not ambitious. I think I'm just too ambitious. I thought that was funny, and like you said, like if maybe they start leaning more into the comedy of it all, we could have gotten another funny horror comedy movie.
Like some of the kills in this. So we're full spoilers, right? Like we're spoiling everything.
We're definitely spoiling this movie. I'm so sorry if you guys were looking forward to, but we're spoiling it.
So it's part of the concept is unique. The rest of it is not, in that we have this haunted object that kills everybody. Yeah. It's very like Final Destination-esque. And some of the kills here, there was potential for these to be really funny and entertaining, and they just aren't. So like I'm thinking of the second or the third kill where they're on the bridge and it's the hangman kill. Like there was a lot of potential for that to be funny and like, but it just wasn't. And like the logic wasn't there, and it was beyond like, horror movie logic where people don't have any survival instinct. It just didn't make sense. Like for the last 40 minutes of this whole film, they've been telling this girl not to run away from her problems. Someone writes on the window, not to run, and she sure does, and that is how she meets her demise. So I have that was the one kill where I'm like, okay, come on. Like that one was dumb. Like we were really pushing it there. Like even if it would have made sense if they had all gotten separated and then she started to run, like that would have made more sense. Just in the movie night says, me too. Link to last week's Hot Take Tuesday. What was last week? Oh, okay, yeah. Last week I was the Anna Kendrick movie. A Woman of the Hour.
Yes. So yeah, there was some liberties taken in that one as well. Yeah. So okay, I'm so glad you mentioned the kills because I'm just like, I feel like there was so other than. All right, quick question: which of the kills did you like?
So yeah, and Joe and Scott in the comments. Yeah, so there's no. All the kills are in the trailer. You're absolutely right, Joe.
I didn't even see the trailer, so that's
good.
They showed all of the kills in the trailer. The crap you missed it. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah. So the first kill, especially, which I would say is probably the best one, the first one where she kind of goes up the staircase, because you kind of have there's some illusion of, well, we haven't seen this yet, so the gag isn't up. the first one is kind of good, but that first kill is entirely in the trailer. Like, you know exactly who's getting killed and what is happening there. So it's the High Priestess one. So I would say that one is good. It's pretty moody, and I think the effects in the second to last kill in the elevator are cool. Like, that definitely had potential.
Mm-hmm.
But by then, like, we've seen the gag. Like, we know what's going to happen. There's nothing creative happening with it.
Yeah.
It sucks because the imagery of the iconography is really cool. Like, the High Priestess imagery is really cool. Heavy on the CGI, but cool. And then the Fool is also cool. But, I mean, I would say the first one, if any, did you like any of them?
I kind of liked the train one. I thought that one was interesting. Although you kind of did see it coming, but apparently you didn't. Whoopsie.
Yeah.
Because like that was one of the ones that I thought was a great example of it kind of forcing you to make your own demise. I thought that made more sense than the man coming out with a rope on you. You know what I mean? Like, I liked that better. I thought they were going to lean more into, like, you know, it just happening versus like something grabbing by the neck and hold. Like, that was lame. Sorry.
Yeah, it was lame. It was such like a throwaway. Like they knew, oh, because it was the hangman card, they had to do something with a rope, but they didn't have like a good enough idea for it, so they just did it. But fun fact on the train station in the film. So the train station in the film is Haymarket Station, which is actually a train station in Boston on the T, or the subway. And I actually commute through that station multiple times a week, and that, I can assure you, that is not the station, and they don't even try to make it look like the station. So I just think it's so funny that they made a point to like show the Haymarket sign and then do nothing else to make the station look like it. Because then the whole rest of the movie, I'm like, is this supposed to be set in Boston? What college are they at? Like, where are we supposed to be?
Oh, okay. I'm so glad you said what college are they at, because I'm like, where are all the college kids? Like, I get it. It's, you know, keeping the budget low. I understand, but at the same time, where is everyone at?
Right. There's one roommate featured. It's just the group, and then the one guy's roommate, who also somehow is like the unspoken hero of the story because he magically appears, and that's how the Spider-Man guy, he's an extra, he's one of the side characters in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's how he doesn't die, because his roommate shows up. And it's also hinted that he doesn't like his roommate. So, like, why? Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, I bet he better kiss the ground he walks on now.
Exactly.
So, oh my goodness. Okay. I'm trying to think where I even begin with some of this stuff, because it wasn't, okay. I don't know if this is going to make sense, but it wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't good. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, it was like like you said, like, it was predictable. It was a little, the kills were not imaginative as I was expecting them to be, because I was like, I mean, like, you're coming in strong. I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm ready for Final Destination level of like intricacies of making you die. And no. Okay. That's what we're doing. And then being at this Airbnb, drinking all that beer. How are y'all still standing? Is this over a period of a weekend, or just one day? Because
yeah, the timing makes no sense. Like, because all of a sudden, so they're doing the tarot reading, and then it's the next day when they're driving back, but also now they're back at campus. Like, what? So then they talk about, so if the college is in Boston, they talk about being in like upstate New York for the weekend. Like, it takes quite a while to drive. I don't know. I wouldn't be driving to upstate New York if I went to college in Boston, and there was no driving to upstate New York happening on the weekend. But continue. Yes, the timeline makes no sense.
did somebody in Texas write this who has no idea how things are up north? Because
and then it's filmed in Europe. The whole thing is filmed in Europe.
Oh,
so
okay.
Which is it's just so funny, because then it also doesn't even look like the shots that they're really obscure shots of the campus, but it does not look like, again, any campus in Boston. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is a pandemic movie. No one was there. Yeah, it's just them. That's why they got that Airbnb at such a good cost, because
Yes.
it was the height of
Oh,
COVID.
the Crafty Misfit says it was 100% a bad movie, Miss Lady. Well, you know what? They are the experts on bad movies. They watch whew, some B movies, some obscure movies. So I'm not gonna argue with the expert on that. So okay, now when they visited, okay, not even that. Let me fast forward. When their first friend died, and they're all like sad, and they're all like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm like, "Man, I feel you guys. I feel you." And the second friend dies, and it's like, "Wait, what's happening?" I know. It's the tarot readings. I'm like, wait, hold on. How did we jump to this conclusion so fast? Like, I'm glad kind of that we're not dragging this out, but at the same time, I feel like I kind of wanted some kind of supernatural, like, tap on her shoulder to be like, hey, this is where it came from, to kind of hit her, because it was like, oh. And then they started bringing that comedy again, where it was like, oh, this lady, Amma, and he's like, she's been discredited and no one's listening to him. Like that was funny, but like they recovered very, very quickly is what I'm trying to say from the death of their friend. Like they recovered
Oh yeah.
they bounced back very quickly. I mean,
Yeah.
so quickly. It was like,
yeah, and then it's again back to timeline. How long? So then they meet the other tarot lady who's read the cards and survived the fate or whatever, and she tells them, I think they have like a week. Everybody died within a week in the prior times that this has happened. So we're to assume that this has happened like in the span of a week, but again, there's no time. Like there's no days passing. Like there are some shots where it's nighttime, and then they have to drive 4 hours away to go see this tarot person. So I don't know who wrote the film, because like how are the days passing? But yeah, you're right. The first person dies, and it's kind of like they're in mourning, and then maybe we're to assume they happen really. The deaths happen fast. Maybe they can't react to them.
The one thing I'll give them about the deaths is they threw me off by the second death. What I mean is, I thought it was going to be like a Final Destination thing where it's in order of the readings because of the birthday girl, and they did that. I'm like, oh, you slick, I think okay, you slick. All right, I was not expecting that. Oh wow, just in the movie night says can't wait till you talk about actress Alwyn Furr, one of the most disrespected character actors. See the Netflix Chainsaw Massacre where she was literally thrown in the trash. Oh.
Is that the tarot reader, Scott?
What was the name?
I also repressed the memory of Texas
No,
Chainsaw.
no. That's Well, that's Alma. That is the survivor from before.
Oh, the survivor. Yeah.
Oh, that's where she's from. Okay, that's what she is from. Okay, now it's clicking.
Yeah, I repressed all of Texas Chainsaw. That was a horrible film. Yeah, the lady who literally knows everything. Yeah, that somehow knows ancient history. Well, she survived. She survived. That's how she knows. Also, like, I don't know, if I survived like this curse, I don't know if I'd be out there like offering my support to other people.
Okay, I'm so glad you said that, because that was
I would be like,
that was
no, I don't know anything about no cards. No, I don't.
Nope, I survived. I've gone to therapy for the guilt, and I moved on with my life. I'm good. Cause man, like what's funny is, and she is another trope on her own, right? The trope in the horror movies where it's like that person who has knowledge or has kind of dealt with it before, and they come in, they try to help, and within 2 seconds, they're gone. Cause it was like, no.
Yeah.
Crabby says there's always one that has all the answers, cliches all over the place in this film. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, and I think, it's just so interesting that we still have, like, and this was a blockbuster, right? Like, this was a film that they put out to the theaters. This was a film that they advertised. This wasn't like it was a straight to Tubi original or an indie production that we would like look at with a different lens. Like, this was a blockbuster that they put out, And I don't know who greenlit this. Like, I don't know who thought that a horror film with this many cliches and like such a weak script in this day and age would be successful. And I guess like it's still somewhat commercially successful. Like the film's making money and it's on Netflix, and even this right now, like we're making them money right now as we speak. But I mean, it's just interesting because you had so many other strong horror films come out this year, and even just when you're talking about the kills and how in relationship to Final Destination, there's a lot of potential here for something to be better.
Yeah.
Even if you think about In a Violent Nature that came out this year, I did not like that film at all, but
okay, I haven't watched it yet, but I've literally heard split things on it. People either love it or hate it. That's it.
Yeah, it's got some really, in terms of like talking about the kills, it's really, really inventive, and it really, really went there. So it's interesting that somebody would put out a horror film that's so like lukewarm, knowing what else was coming. And even like Terrifier 2, or what are we on? 3? Terrifier Santa Claus. I haven't seen that one, but I can only imagine, the level of gore. I've heard about the kills in that one. So again, why would you put something out? Oh, Joe, did you not like In a Violent Nature either? Because
Yes, you didn't.
Because Will, Armored Foe, loved that one, and I think Billy D loved it too. And I'm the kind of the minority. A lot of people, I feel everyone in my circle liked it, so I'm glad I found someone who didn't.
Okay, I haven't seen it, but I need to see it. I actually do need to see it. So, the Crafty Misfit says, I could have knitted a whole sweater watching that asshole walk around.
Yeah, it's literally him walking the whole time. Time.
Oh, wait. Is that the one from the perspective of the killer?
Yeah, it's like the edgy Jason.
He's okay.
Like edgy. He has a backstory.
No, you two, you're fine. Don't see it.
Unless you're like, especially if you're not somebody, like, unless you're like, I love slashers and they spark joy in my life. Like, no, don't watch it.
I think the most recent slasher that I enjoyed, in all its ridiculousness, was Thanksgiving.
Me too. I was just like,
oh my! Listen. Me and my girls went, and by girls I mean my kids. We went to go see it. Like 13 or 14 twins. So we went to go see it. They really started to come into their own as far as love and horror. Like they're the ones that got me on the Terrifier, because we watched the first 2 Terrifier movies just like a couple weeks ago, because when they went to see it. I'm like, wow. So we sat in that theater. Oh my gosh, we enjoyed the hell out of that movie. It was so fun. As soon as it came on Netflix, we were all watching it.
Yeah.
Like, we love that movie. Like,
there's a lot to be said about Thanksgiving, but it's a shit ton of fun. And you know what? For a holiday horror too, because
yes,
like it was a good one. But I just love how we were here to talk about tarot in the movie, which is so fucking boring. Now we're talking about something else. Oh, excuse me, I swore. I'll try not to swear.
Okay. Okay, you're right. Let's get back on tarot. Oh my god. Back on tarot. So, and it was so funny because when you gave me the list of movies, I was like, tarot. All right. I hadn't seen it. I was kind of avoiding it because I was like, it's gonna be lame, and I was correct. Now, so the thing I was like, all right, Paxton, Spider-Man, his response to everything, I was like, this is probably one of the most unreal things in the whole movie for me. You guys are getting hunted down. You literally see in front of you a friend get snatched up and hung, and your answer is, I'm gonna go my own way. What?
Yeah.
What?
It was like, have you never seen Scooby-Doo? Like, we're not splitting up, gang. Like, that's not how this is gonna work. He also, like, I get it. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's such a push and pull, right? Because in horror films, you just want anybody to think, like, sane, like in the real world.
Yeah.
But somehow the ability for these
it was a little frustrating. It was a little frustrating. when they literally like had a keep out sign with a lock on it, and they're like, but beer could be down there if you don't. All right, all right.
Also, you
Okay.
could tell that this was probably written by somebody who hasn't been 21 in like quite a long time, because like I haven't met, I'm 26. I haven't met anybody in my last 10 years of living that wanted to drink that badly. Never. Never in my life. Like, and if you do, like, maybe you need to unpack that. Like, if you need a drink that bad that you're going to go get possessed, like, you really need to
I,
unpack that.
I, I just like, all right. Regardless of where you stand on like, like supernatural and things like that, like I think we can all agree, don't touch other people's stuff. Like just not like what are we doing?
Right.
What
Right.
are we doing?
Because they're in an Airbnb. Like, that's the other thing. It's like they're literally in an Airbnb. So I would love to know, like, what do people think happens in Airbnbs? Like, do you just go around opening stuff that's locked? Like, that's just strange.
You know what? Two questions about that. One, who are the owners of this Airbnb? Right? They seem to be collectors. They seem to be collectors. But I don't know. Like, I guess that's where the sequel's gonna come in because I don't know if there's a sequel,
Also,
but
like, yeah, what? So the place is also like dilapidated. Like, there's barely any power.
yeah,
In the dark. Like, so what
yeah,
kind of Airbnb is this? What kind of Craigslist listing did you find? Like, how did we, like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I would have rather it have been like, I don't know, a cottage or something, and they stumbled upon it outside. Like, I don't know. Like, it just, because it didn't make sense. Like, how did you get here? Who let you in this house?
listen. Maybe this is the horror movie veteran in me talking, but I'm not interested in an Airbnb in the middle of nowhere. I don't really care how many people are there with me at the Airbnb. No, I need like a neighborhood adjacent or something. Like, what do we? No, no,
Oh, I don't
no.
even go in the woods. There's nothing in the woods that needs me to be there. Nothing. There's not a single thing. And I also don't believe in outer space. If they need to shoot us to the moon, I'll die here. That's fine. I've seen enough alien films to know. I'm good.
No, I'm good. I'm with you. I'm with wherever we're at environmentally. I'm just gonna be here to deal with it. I don't know. No, I'm good. I'll be here. The craft music says, tarot is bad when you'd rather talk about other films in your discussion on tarot. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's oof. All right. I it was so disappointing, this movie. Oh my god. Even Paige's death, like the Mean Girls, her getting cut in half, like it was uh it was, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just like,
Yeah, that was probably, in terms of kills that were up to like standard or closest to what we're seeing right now in the genre, that death was probably the closest because we got the most gore out of it.
yeah.
But it almost happened, like, it was too long. Like, we knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
The moment that she got in the box, we're like, okay, she's going to cut her in half. But then it just kept going. And it kept going.
And going. And going.
And
Okay.
hers was also...
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. You can go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just going to keep complaining, so keep going.
No, I was gonna say that, like, when Alma was telling them how, like, oh, all these freak accidents happen, people who had their tarot read, I'm like, but half of these ain't even freak accidents. Like, they're like straight up somebody cut her in half. That was not a freak
That's what I was
accident.
gonna say. Yeah, so like the train one, okay, freak accident.
Yeah.
So we could get on board with that. But the whole, like, the magician one, like, a magician appears and cuts her in half in front of like an undead audience, and that's, yeah, I just don't, well, they were two different things, like two different styles from each other. They should have stuck with one or the other. They should have made it all supernatural or all like more Final Destination style.
Yeah. And then, like, when death came for Haley and it just choked her against the door, I was just like, really? Like, I was like, that's what we're doing? Uh,
And if you go like 10 minutes before that whole scene, so again, we spend this whole movie supposedly caring about this couple that's been
yeah,
fighting. Like, we know nothing about them. We don't know, like, how long they've been together,
nothing,
why we need to care, nothing. So
nothing.
they're literally about to die. Like, they're hiding in the house, like, hiding for their lives. And the guy just looks over and he's like, you know, when we first met, I'm like, dude, we don't have, like, I would have killed him myself. I would be like, you need to shut up or we're both gonna die. Like, are you kidding right now? Like,
No,
the literal Grim Reaper is following us, and you want to talk about this right now? What happened to the other 90 minutes of the film?
listen. On that, I got a little annoyed when the girl basically admitted that she broke up with him because the tarot card reading was never good. It was never good to her mom. So I was like, okay, I can kind of give you the stretch because of what happened with your mom. You have this faith in the cards that when they're telling you guys are going to work out, that you're kind of just cutting the cord, but it still felt, I don't know.
Yeah, and then it goes back to the idea that in real life, because then she specifically says that the tarot cards repeatedly predicted her mother's death. So
Yeah,
I want to know what the heck she was asking the cards to tell her that, because the cards don't. If you do a tarot reading, it's never gonna say, "Oh yeah, sorry, your mom's gonna die." Like, that never really happened. So I'd love to know what she was asking. Like, were you asking a yes or no question? Because that might have gotten you a consistent yes. I have no idea. Because
um,
again,
it's
that's
not how
not how like real tarot readings
it
work.
works.
And even like at the very baseline, the death card in a tarot deck never really means death. That usually means like the ending of something.
Yeah,
So they didn't pull on that trope too much, but so I was like, thank God they didn't get into that.
yeah.
But some of the cards they did read correctly, others not so much. But you know, I hope they don't do a sequel. I hoped. Oh my God, what
Oh,
would they do good about?
I thought I saw something about a sequel somewhere, but I could have been I could have been wrong. I could be wrong. The Crafty Misfit says I was drunk during this film, and then we podcasted it, and I spoiled the movie. Yeah, I remember. I looked at the episode. You know, what's so funny. I listened to the episode and forgot all about it. That's how forgettable this movie is.
So
How
yeah,
did the
so I
ladder
saw
dance
it.
look like an accident? Okay, just in the movie night, you make a good point. Because that was like, that was,
Yeah. So
yeah.
I saw someone else reviewed it, and they were commenting on the fact that so the police come and they say, "Oh, there's no evidence of foul play," and they're like, "How?" Like, she was clearly pushed off the ladder. So I mean, I guess it could have been an accident, you know. And then it's all starting to blur together, so I don't even know like what happened when she fell off the ladder. I remember the priestess shows up, and then does she like fall? Does she
Yes,
gets
yeah.
yeah, she falls.
She falls, she crawls away, and then she gets pulled back directly under the ladder. Um,
Now
they,
the cops are just like, unspoken, probably because they couldn't find anybody with a Boston accent to play Boston PD. That's why there's
oh
no
my
cops in the
gosh,
film.
you're right. They barely showed the.
I wish they did. That would have been great if we had a bad Boston accent in the film. The ladder hits her face. I'll trust you. I don't. I'm telling you, it all blends together.
No, no. It's plunging her in the back. Actually, it's
The
going up
ladder.
and down, the ladder. Actually, again, call back to Final Destination 2. The ladder scene was way better there. All right, I don't want to harp on that and get off that again.
I know Donnie Wahlberg and Mark Wahlberg were what they would have made this movie. They would have made this movie if we. That's my final critique. If Mark Wahlberg, if they had all the Wahlbergs in this movie as the Boston PD, it would have been great.
Yeah.
You know, they would have sold it. We would have believed it was happening in Boston.
Oh my. You know what? Yeah, that would have actually made a difference to me. That would have definitely made a difference. I'm gonna have to go ahead and yeah, they need to do that. Um, oh, good Lord. And okay, real quick while we're talking about this girl on the ladder. She thought it was her friends in the attic, and she's calling out for them. If you're my friend, and I'm calling your name, and you're not answering, no, nope, not looking
Also,
for me.
what would they be doing in the attic? Like, I like the logic. Like, why would they have been in the attic?
Yeah,
Like, what has been the reasonable answer
yeah,
to them being in the attic? Yeah.
yeah. I think I would have, honestly, I think I kind of would have got a little freaked out and I would have left the house waiting for my roommates to come home. Um, I probably did that. Like, nah, I don't. Donnie Wahlberg shaving in dead silence would have made this.
Can you just picture, like, let's just put the Wahlbergs in that bridge scene. Let's picture it. Mark Wahlberg's there in his vest. He's got the gun. He's like, "Don't get out of the car! Don't get out of the car!" Oh my god, it would have been so good. We should rewrite it.
Yeah.
Just like the guy who's the villain in Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just randomly, like, because he was in a bunch of stuff too. He's just randomly there. Like, good
Patrick
for you.
Patrick Dempsey. Oh,
Yes,
spoiler
Patrick
alert.
Dempsey.
Spoiler
Yeah,
alert.
just randomly the villain. Exactly. That's what we needed in this. All along, it was the Wahlbergs.
Oh my gosh. Crafty says, I called your name twice, no answer, you're dead and I'm out.
No, true. And
True.
even like any horror situation that requires like physical, like, and that's why I think it's funny when they're like, "Oh, how did the ladder death look like an accident?" It would have been me if I fell off that ladder. I would have definitely, like, that would have been it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have even had to stab me or anything. I would have just fallen off that ladder and it would have been that. I have no upper body strength, no nothing.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Yeah, talked about that. So, okay. Let's talk about when they destroyed the cards. Okay. Or tried to destroy the cards. Okay. So they throw the cards, everything in the fire and it doesn't burn. And they're like, oh snap, let's call Alma. And you mean to tell me she got there before Spirit Chick? Is she coming from?
Again, the 4-hour drive is non existent anymore.
Like it would have made more sense if they had called her on their way to the place and said, "Hey, we're going back to this place. This is where we're at. We're going to destroy the cards." And then she said, "Okay, I'm on my way too." And then like by the time they get there and they burn the card, she walk in and they tell her it's not working. That would make so much sense timeline wise. Like
I also am amazed especially in this film, how people just innately know where the locations are. Like, how did she know where this random, did they like, share their location, like in a text message? Like, how did she know where they were?
So no, they did. Or something because they said we need help or something, and then I guess when they called her and she came, 4 hours later, I don't know. I don't understand how time works in this world, but yeah, that's what happened. They called her and she came. But again, if it's just little things, I'm just like if you could maybe have edited a couple little things, tweak it a little bit, it could make a little bit more sense. Man, this house.
This would have been a cute, like, short film, I feel. Like, it could have been,
Yeah.
there could have been a lot of potential for this to be, like, a 15-minute short, and maybe it's just, like, featured two friends, and then this happened. Like, that could have been cute. But I think so this was also apparently based on a book, which I would love to, I wonder if the book's any good.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's based on a book. It may be loosely, but it's based on a book.
Okay, I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, because I wonder if the book was any better. And then when you kind of look at this movie, it makes me worried. Like, it was the book. Maybe the book isn't good. Oh, it's a web series. Or you're saying it could have been a web series. A web series
Yeah.
would have been good too. It could have even been like a Netflix show. Like if you did an episode
that. Yeah, oh yeah, 13 Ghosts. That that movie. That yeah. Yes, Lonely. Agree with that short idea for the Craftsman's Way. It might have. You know what? It might have been a short because that's what happened with Lights Out. It was a short,
Yeah,
and then it got traction. They made it into a movie, which I did enjoy the movie. I did enjoy the movie.
yeah. Lights
So
Out is like a unique one where the movie did work. And then you look at another film that did this poorly, like the Slender movie was horrible,
I didn't
but
even
the
bother
Slender,
watching.
yeah, no, don't bother watching it. Like but the lore of Slender Man is like all of early 2010s internet. Like they had so
Yeah,
much content. I think what ended up happening there was it almost was too graphic for the theater, and they cut some stuff out for a PG-13 rating. I can't remember in Slender because there should have been a scene where the guy stabbed himself in the eyeball and they cut it out, which probably would have made it a better movie, like honestly. But this happens a
Forever
lot.
Chasing this PG-13 rating. Okay, trying to squeeze like a horror movie or something to a PG-13 rating. It 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 ruins it sometimes. What was it? Scary Stories. I, I'm still pissed. Okay, because I'm talking about when I was younger, and then books came out. Scary Stories, Glow in the Dark, and more scary stories. Like that was my jam. I, I love them, and it's like the movie was just vanilla, and I'm like, did y'all even read the books? The books were hard, especially when you're even in middle school. Books were hard.
Yeah,
These vanilla
yeah,
things that y'all doing.
yeah. And you know the isn't Terror's PG-13, right? This was a PG-13
It
movie.
better be. If it's rated R, I'm mad because y'all wasted it.
Yeah, because I was gonna say maybe that's part of the reason why this went wrong was maybe because they were trying to market it to a teen audience. I don't know. I feel like also the teen audience nowadays is so different than the teen audience that they were marketing like a traditional slasher to like 20 years ago.
Yeah,
So it makes you wonder like what even would get a teenager to the movie theater like at this point, especially in horror.
yeah. Uh, did they come out for Smile too?
Smile 2 was R, so unless a parent brought them, and
Uh,
that one was gory.
Well,
Yeah, I loved Smile 2 though.
also, I mean, I know people have like assigned seats, so it's hard to do it nowadays. But they could still be buying for Inside Out too and sneak
True,
into
true, true.
the Crafty Misfit boobs and gore, boobs and gore. Yeah. Well, what has boobs and gore as far as I know. Terrifier. Yep. At least one or two.
That's I don't
Yeah.
know. I have this could be a whole conversation on whether Terrifier has like destroyed the horror genre.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, like it's become like yeah, what an odd year PG-13 and hard. Yeah, the hard rated R's is true. Because is Terrifier X? That doesn't
Uh,
surprise me.
Terrifier is actually unrated. Yes, unrated. Um,
Did Ter-
was it was
because Terrifier did a limited release in theaters, I think. It
the
was
first one?
released and then it came back to theaters. Like it didn't do a full run, so that would make sense if it was unrated.
Yeah. And that it was largely I remember reading up on this. Like it was like a thing. Like, oh, it's unrated. But movie theaters normally don't like take on unrated things, but like it has such a cult following by the third one. And they were kind of like they were hurting a little bit. Some of the movies coming out aren't like doing what they needed to do, so they're like, come on in. And Terrifier 3 was in theaters. So uh yeah. So my kids are counting down the time to when it's going to be on streaming because they're like they can't wait to watch it. Literally.
Whatever makes people happy. That's what I say. It doesn't bother, whatever makes people happy. I don't care for Terrifier. I like Art the Clown as like an icon, but
Yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts on like whether Terrifier, I think that the gore in Terrifier goes beyond any like suspension of belief and like takes me out of it. Yeah, it was just lots of. I'm like reading Scott's comments. I can't remember where you guys skew, Joan, Scott, on if you like Terrifier. If your followers.
No, it has a full run. He funded it on his own. It may have hurt the genre going forward. Oh, it may hurt the genre going forward. So the thing about it for me was the first one, I was like, oh, okay, this is wild. And then the second one, I'm like, so he's Freddy Krueger then.
Like there was, I don't know, there was like sort of grit to the first one that I could, you know, appreciate in some sense, and then it goes in a different direction in Terrifier 2.
Yeah, it
did. Entirely, because then because in the first one there's no like story to it. We're just in this warehouse and he does what he does, and then we have in the new character. I don't even know what her name is. I can see her clearly in my brain. Lauren Laverna, but. And then the third one is an extension of her story, right? Like I haven't seen it, but I think it's the last part of her saga.
I believe so. I think I've heard something like that. The ending of 2 is just it's just like I'm just like, oh, this is where we're going. This is where we're going. Like, if it wasn't for my kids, I probably would have never even got on Terrifier because it just kind of been one of those things. I'm just like, oh, okay. Let's see. So, all right. So Scott says he hated 1. He thought 2 was better, but not great. 3 is getting interesting. Okay. So, all right. So Lonely, based on these numbers, by the 5th or 6th one, you should be able to come on board.
Yeah, I can. It'll be like the research, you know, like Nightmare. It got really good for 1, sucked for 2, and then 3 is where everybody came back. It'll be the same thing with Terrifier.
Yeah. Let's see. Joe, the Crafty Misfit says art started to grow on me after part 1. I didn't love the first Terrifier.
So I thought his original, is it Tales of Halloween? Is the first appearance from Art the Clown? Yeah, the anthology. And that was creepy as hell. When he's in the attic, I was all on board. I was like, that's awesome. I definitely wanted to see Terrifier after that. And then it was what it was. Yeah. And you know, I live in Salem, Massachusetts, so we have there's a lot. And during Halloween season, this was, All Hallows Eve. Yeah, you're right. And it was, so we had tons of people dressed as Art the Clown. Like, just so many Art the Clowns. It was like an Art the Clown convention to the point where it just becomes hilarious. Like, it's at the same level as like the Mickey Mouses and Mickey Mice in Times Square. Like,
oh my god,
so many Art the Clowns. And just the amount of people who, like, the little kids that love Art the Clown. They're like, oh, look. Like, oh, mommy, let me take a picture with Art the Clown.
Oh my god.
In Salem. Yeah, the new Harley Quinn, absolutely. We should get Art the Clown those little holographic shorts. I think that would be cute. Like the Harley Quinn costume.
Oh, okay. Art the Clown. Art the Clown.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be like a cross cosplay. We can do a Harley Quinn Art the Clown cross episode. It'll be good.
That sounds good.
Outside the box. Is there anything that we haven't talked about with tarot that needs to be discussed?
Oh my god.
Yeah, like...
Okay. I'm not even gonna lie to you. For 2 seconds, I forgot we were talking about tarot. Okay. Did Paxton coming through in the end, did that feel like a cop out for you?
100%.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Like, but how did he escape it? Like, that's what I'm getting. Like, how did he? Because even if you go back to the reading, it says, "Oh, when one door closes, another one opens." So did she predict the whole time that he was going to live? Like, I'm not sure what. Like, how he got spared.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what happened there.
And you come through for your friends.
Oh yeah, because she predicted that he would be there to save his friends. I guess.
Yeah. So there's that. And I guess one I guess we already talked about, like I said my favorite was the train. Did you say what your favorite death was? Or if
I
you had
said the
one?
first one,
First one,
but then
okay.
apparently I didn't remember any of it. So maybe it's not my first one. It's not my best one. Scott had
Hold
to
on,
remind me of the entire scene because I didn't remember
let me,
anything.
let me look at this real quick. Okay, so Elise, the birthday girl, she's the one, first one with the crushing blow with the ladder. Lucas got hit by the train. Then we had Madeline with the hangman on the bridge. Then we had Paige with the magician, and, and then that leaves Paxton, who was a cop out. Lucas, no, sorry, not Lucas, sorry, Grant, who had the devil card. Okay, so okay, quick question. What was the plan with Grant? What was that? Face your demons. What was his death? The demons are going to tear him apart. They're going to throw him in fire.
I don't even remember that one. That's how I don't even remember what happened there. So is he between the elevator death and the magician one? Is he in between that one?
Oh no, that's the boyfriend or the ex-boyfriend at the very end.
You guess as good as mine. I don't even remember. Once we get to that house in the last part and everybody's at the house. We got Alma at the house. We got the spirit lady at the house. She's reading the cards again. So I don't know. I'm a horrible, horrible viewer, apparently. I don't even remember what freaking happened to him.
Let me see. So Sky said, we will have art pool, and Captain Misfit says Lisa wants to talk about cool as ice, right? They're never gonna live that down until I watch it. I recommended a movie to them that I had not seen. It
Was it not good?
it starred Vanilla Ice. Mm-hmm. 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 A deep sigh.
This is not to be confused with Ice Cube and his 4 comedy movies with the kids in the road
Yep.
trip.
Yep. Yep. Or Ice-T.
Or Ice-T and his 12 seasons on Law and Order SVU.
No, I think it's way more than 12. They're like on
He's
season
the only
27 right
character
now.
still on. It's him and Mariska.
Yeah.
They're the only people still on SVU.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Stapler actually branched off into a whole nother show, kind of.
He has like a side series.
Yeah, like
Law and Order Organized Crime.
Law and Order,
Organized Crime.
Organized
Yeah.
Crime. There it is. Yeah. My husband loves that one. He says it's better than even the other one. I'm like, oh, I mean, I kind of bowed out of SVU, like, I can't even tell how long ago. It's got to be too much. I want an essay written about it. All right, I'm gonna watch Cool as Ice one of these days. I'm gonna write an essay for for Joe. Oh my gosh. Okay, so final question. I did a poll where I said which one of these, and I put game based in quotation marks because technically Tarot really isn't a game. But I put like, which one of these game based horror movies is your favorite? It was Tarot. It was Uji. Am I saying that right? Uji board. Uji.
Oh, Ouija. Yeah.
Ouija.
Yeah. It's okay. I got it. I knew where you were going.
In my defense, that's one of those English words that makes no sense.
Oh,
Pronunciation
no,
and spelling. Which one would be your favorite?
Out of that list, so Tarot, Ouija. Okay, tell me one more time. Tell me one more time because the choices are just so big.
Tarot, Ouija, Truth or Dare, Would You Rather?
Oh, well, I haven't seen Truth or Dare or Would You Rather because I didn't think they were going to be any good.
Okay.
I haven't seen the first Ouija either. I've seen Ouija Origin of Evil, which isn't bad. I
Okay.
would actually throw another contender in the ring, and I would say Escape Room.
Okay. So it kept popping up, and I was like, it felt a little too different than the other ones, that's why I didn't include it. But Escape Room was definitely one that we liked, and it got a sequel.
It did
Did you watch the
get a
sequel?
sequel. I haven't seen the sequel.
Okay. I saw the sequel. I think I liked it. I can't remember. I gotta rewatch it. Maybe that is saying something. I don't know. But yeah.
Oh, you know what
So
should have
there's
been on
that.
this list? How about, it's not a horror film, but how about Jumanji?
Oh man.
Well, because Jumanji's like an actual game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's actually, or what's the other one? Zathura? Am I the only one who remembers that movie existing?
No, you're not. I remember the story very clearly. Very
It was like
clearly.
the sci-fi
Mhm.
game or whatever.
It was the sci-fi Jumanji. That's what it was.
Yes,
It
with
was
the sci-fi.
that's what it was.
Yeah, those were also
Um,
good.
so
Mousetrap. Yeah.
got to escape room all day. Mousetrap. Witchboard. So if I'm going off the four choices that we have,
Yeah.
I would say, dang, I actually had a thought and I missed that. Truth or Dare is more horror, but Would You Rather, I feel like is the better movie. If that makes sense.
I would
And
so I'll
the,
take your word for it.
the ending, if I'm gonna recommend you watch one of them, I would recommend watch Would You Rather. And that ending,
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I can't say anything else because I'll give it away, and maybe one day you will watch it. Oh, and they were asking for our scores for tarot.
Okay. Do you rate out of 10 or out of 5?
Out of 10.
Out of 10? Okay, so I would say out of 10, I would give, you know what? It's the same. I would give it a 1 on a scale of 1 to 5 or a scale of 1 to 10. I guess on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd maybe give it a 2. I'll give it a point for the interpretation of the cards.
Okay, and I would give it a 3. I would give it a 3. I'd be a little bit more kinder to it.
Yeah, there's just so many like fish in the sea when it comes to horror, and this cannot stand up to it. It can't. Even like looking at some of the worst films from last, like I would put Texas Chainsaw that came out last or the 2 years before. I'd put that over this film, and the Hellraiser remake. I'd put that over this film too.
I didn't even assault my eyes by watching the Hellraiser remake. Not doing it.
That's just, it's sacrilegious. It's a sin.
I just see if you're gonna come with the remake, you gotta come strong. You gotta come strong.
It was so bad. It was so bad, and it had like Twilight blue. So like all the first Twilight film is like all blue. That film is like all blue, but like not in a cool, edgy way. It's just like blue geez. For some reason.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's not good. And then, yeah, they just took I'm a big Clive Barker fan, and I love The Hellbound Heart, which is the book that Hellraiser is based on. So anything that like is so mean to that movie, I hate it automatically.
Okay, so at my heart, in my heart, I'm like, don't remake these movies. But then you get gems once in a while. Now, this is an way older gem. Like The Blob from like the 1980s movie was a remake from the 1950s, and I've seen both movies. And the remake it really expounded upon the original and really did a good job with it. Like it brought even more forth. It made it worth it to do a remake. And then I'm hearing that somebody wants to do a Blob remake now, and I'm like, yes. I don't want you to, because you're going to rely on CGI, and it's going to look crappy. Leave it alone.
Yeah, yeah. It's been so long since I've seen The Blob. A good remake that comes to mind for me, I talk about this all the time, is Evil Dead. The Evil Dead remake
Mm,
was stellar. So
mm.
stellar. Not the most recent Evil Dead Rise. That was interesting. But the Evil Dead, I think it was, oh my God, it might have been 2012. I don't know. Fact check me. It's the whatever the one that covers the Raining Blood. The Raining Blood is my, that's a good one. The good remake.
Oh man. Okay. Okay. Dang it.
And then the Nightmare remake that came out in the early 2010s wasn't good at all. The Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh,
Um,
oh, like, oh, yeah.
yeah,
Oh
with
man.
Rooney Mara's
Mm,
in it, and then
mm.
the one guy from Twilight, and
Oh,
they like changed the actor for Freddy, and they also changed the prosthetic for Freddy. It was just too many
too
changes.
many changes. No. Ew. Scott says recently Godzilla -1. It's possible. Okay, I have to watch that one. I haven't seen it yet. I need to
Me
watch
too.
that one.
Yeah, people
Oh,
were loving that one.
yeah, I'm hearing a lot. I'm okay. I gotta kind of like capitalize on that. So I'm gonna Oh, and I have to watch. I'm gonna watch The Substance. I have to watch The Substance. Yes,
Oh.
and actually, I watched Blink twice. Now I've watched that movie 3 times already. Now I'm gonna watch it a fourth time. And I'm gonna be talking about it. Spoiler alert next week. And I know we don't say that, but like I'm so excited about that movie. I am. Um, this new Freddy wasn't scary at all. No, he wasn't. Oh
Why was
God.
he so short? Not to hate on the short kings, but why was Freddy so short in the remake? Like, why? I'm curious. Like, why was he short? I
Our
haven't
short kings need
seen
love, lonely. They need love too.
Yes, true. I haven't seen Blink twice yet, but I have seen The Substance, so can't wait to see what you think of that one. I, I'm sad for what The Substance could have been. It's a good film.
Oh
It's a good film.
no. Okay,
It's a good
okay.
film, but it could
Uh,
have been. It's a good film, but it could have been a great film, in my humble opinion. It's
okay.
still worth seeing, though. Definitely see it.
Okay. And I can't wait to kind of hear your thoughts on Blink twice when you see it.
I heard it was really. Is it like really graphic? That's what I've heard. Like in terms of some of the scenes of violence. Like where would you put
No,
it? Like on a scale?
no. I have to give it up to Zoe Kravitz. This is her directorial debut. She did a really good job of implying the violence without blatantly like throwing it in your face. So there's a couple like snippet scenes here and there, but even them, they're like the way it's shot, the angles, it does a way better job of implying and letting your imagination kind of like fill in the filler.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Okay, that makes me feel better then.
Yeah.
I'll definitely try to catch it then.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to thank you for being a guest on Hot Take Tuesday Live on a Wednesday. I hope that you've enjoyed yourself as I have. I definitely want to bring you back on.
Oh yeah, of course. It's been so much fun, and shameless plug. Like, would love to have you on No Bodies sometime. Have you on the podcast.
Yes.
We are a horror podcast.
I'm gonna have to repeat this again. Horror was my first love.
So we'll find something for
I'm definitely very much in the horror genre. And in my old age, I've only become a little bit more selective. You know what I mean? Just more because I guess having kids makes you weak or something because certain things just sit in my spirit longer than normal. I'm like, oh, come on. Like I used to do it, watch everything, but now I'm just like, okay, hold on, let me just see.
No, that is so true. My co-host she's got 2 little ones, and she's the same way. Like, she used to consume it like crazy, and now there are some things she just can't even watch anymore because it's just too visceral. But yes, you'll be hearing from me. I will rope you into the show. We'd love to have you on in January. And yeah, I've had an absolute
birthday month.
Oh, well, then we have to do January.
We need to talk about that. Just because it's brought up in tarot. What is your sign? Do you know?
I'm a Taurus. I'm a Taurus sun. I'm a Gemini moon and Aquarius rising.
Okay, so I am an Aquarius.
Oh, that's why we get along. My
Yeah,
best friend is an Aquarius, so yeah.
yeah. I think I'm Leo rising or Leo house or something like that. My friend told me that before, so I thought it was funny. I'm just like, since they mentioned it, I'm like, oh, throw it out there. So, but yeah. That's how we vibe. That's exactly how we vibe. Perfect.
Yep.
Well, I have had so much fun. And again, guys, anyone who's interested in, being a part, I do this almost every Wednesday. I try to do this. Hit me up with the DMs. Check out. Is it? You said Nobody's?
Yep. Nobody's Horror Podcast.
Nobody's Horror Podcast. Oh my gosh! All right, I love the name of that podcast. Actually, Nobody's Horror Podcast. I'm so movie lovers. Uh, Scott says, Lisa, our birthdays better not be the same. Okay. I'll say what it is. Mine is January 28th.
Well, we can't end the live until we know what Scott's birthday is.
I know. Yeah, Scott. You better still be on, Scott. I need to know. I need to know what it
right?
is. I'm out here alone. I said it. Where are you at?
So, he's the 30th. Oh, thank God.
Oh, okay. All right.
Imagine if that was like we predicted your birth chart, and now you're both gonna. If you were born on the same day, you both would have died. That would have been a ending of the.
Oh my gosh! No.
Good.
Oh my gosh! All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you guys for your comments, for tuning in. I love this. I enjoy this. Keep it up. Check out my girl Lonely. Her Clementine. Follow her. He's oh no. And I will check you guys next Wednesday for another episode on the live. Bye, guys.